afternoon and welcome to another episode of Eat, Smoke, Drink. So today, look, this is a coffee edition. This is a coffee edition episode. It is literally morning, my first coffee of the day, and I thought I wanted to take you through that. Because like an addict, it'll be the best coffee of the day because it's your first coffee of the day. Today I'm going to take you through Vanguard Coffee Colombia, Jairo Arcila or Jairo Arcila. Probably Jairo. Jairo is J's H in Spanish, so Jairo Arcila. Now this is an interesting one. So this particular process is EF2 Natural. It's a dark label. Let me just remove my costume for a moment. So EF2 Natural, 1650 altitude, okay, above sea level. It is the varietal called Sudan Rume, region of Armenia, Quindio. So that's Colombia. And the producer is Jairo Arcila, Finca Santa Monica. Okay, so let me take you through the processes for. In the last couple of videos, I've taken you through different types of processes, and so I've tried a couple of normal, washed, normal, natural, right? And then suddenly I discovered these random different processes. I went on the rabbit hole so deep, and EF2 is very unusual because it first goes through an aerobic fermentation. Aerobic means it's fermenting with oxygen. And then it goes through multi-stages of anaerobic fermentation. So I guess, once again, the question is, are they doing this for a different flavor profile? Or is it a coincidence that they're doing this because they need to, for some reason, the climate or whatever they need to out of necessity? I don't know. I think these micro plots and micro farms, which makes up a tiny proportion of the coffee industry, they probably do a little bit of both. They're like, oh, we want to make our beans unique, more unique for people who buy them because they charge a premium for them, you see. They're not your cheap and cheerful coffee beans you get in bulk. So that's probably why they do it. But look, I mean, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but from discussing with other coffee geeks, you know, there's a multitude of reasons why they do different types of fermentations and different types of processes and washes and, you know, removals of the pulp and all that stuff. But anyway, I wanted to take you through this because this is a very different coffee that I've tried. And I am in this journey to just try as many different coffees as I can, different styles. And not necessarily you'll get them again, but you might get the process again and get some of that similar heart to that to that coffee, the coffee bean. Now look, I am coming from a whiskey geek's perspective here. So the way I do things will probably be quite foreign to a lot of people. A lot of people do that teaspooning thing in the little bowl, and that's fine. That's fine, you can teaspoon. I'm not. I'm going to make a coffee and drink it. I will nose the bean, observe the bean, and then I will then do the same with the coffee. Okay, so like I said, very new channel, and I might change it along the way, but anyway, let's get nosing. And once again, I have it in a jar because I like looking at the beans, okay? So first and foremost, it's a little dark in here. First and foremost, let's observe the bean, okay? Put the cap, there you go. So I love how, I mean, the varietal it says Sudan Rume. It looks like it's just one varietal. What I love about it though is that the beans, or maybe it's Sudan and Rume, I don't know, maybe they missed a comma. But what I love about it, and you'll see that in my B-roll in the start of this video, is that the beans are just such different shapes and sizes. Like some of them are like tiny little nuggets with like curved whatever, and some of them are massive beans. Like, yeah, I can't even describe it. It's crazy. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely a light to medium roast. Okay, so let's get sniffing. Like straight away I get this funky smell to this coffee. This is what attracted me to it. Someone actually told me, a friend of mine who loves coffee stock, he says he doesn't even look at the processes or the source or whatever. What he does is he goes to a roastery and says, all right, what do you have? And he sniffs the bag. And if he likes the sniff, he'll buy the coffee. And I thought, that's a great idea. But for the meantime, for me, I want to identify certain characteristics in the processes, and then I'll do that later. But I mean, maybe I'll never do that, who knows? But different approaches, right? Oh, straight away, I get this weird smell. And this is what I've gotten from the anaerobic fermentation. So this is my first video, but not my first anaerobic fermentation. It's weird, it's funky. It smells like wet carpet. Wet carpet, or like an old pickle jar. And this is not a pickle jar, by the way. This is a very neutral jar. There's no pickle in this at all. There's an old weird funkiness to it, like a wet, rotty leather. Old decomposing wood, very woody. A little clay, some earth, wet earth. Oh, it smells so different. It smells so different. The smell is so unusual. Oh man, what's that? Chocolatey. It smells chocolatey, like raw chocolate, like cocoa beans, cacao nibs. You know when you have cereals, these expensive, fancy organic mueslis, and they have cacao nibs, it smells like that. Or when you have a cacao bean coated in chocolate, it smells like that. It's got that earthiness, that powderiness, that chocolatiness, but not creamy. It's got a sour smell to it. I can't put my finger on it. It says lime on the front. I don't get the lime. But it's got a sourness to it. Slightly herbal. Look, I don't rehearse this shit, okay? So forgive me if there's noise outside or whatever. Just, I just film as I do it. I just don't rehearse it. Oh, the clay, the wet clay. I wonder what kind of soil they have in this place, but I'm getting a bit of clayish earthiness, mud, cocoa, wood, wet wood, rotty wood, leather. The roast is a beautiful roast. This is my first time buying from Vanguard roastery, and I'll link to the bottom. I'll always link to the bottom, the roastery, and I'll put all the details. But it is fantastic, just fantastic. I know it sounds weird, but there is a waft of incense, like burning incense in the distance, like a perfume. A little bit of Spanish red cedar on there. It reminds me a little bit like a humidor when you open a humidor. But it's not like your quintessential coffee smell that you get when you go to an average cafe with super dark roast coffee and espresso machine that you can smell. It doesn't smell like that. It's slightly nutty, slightly fruity. There's like a sickly sweet smell on the back of the nose on the bean. Fantastic, awesome. I'm excited to try the shit out of this. So once again, I've got my Yeti cup because I sit here and work. After this, I'm going to bring out my laptop and I don't want it to cool down too much, but I think it's still a bit hot. Ooh, it's a little bit hot, but let's just nose it for a minute. Oh, man. Oh, the nose. The nose is so good in this coffee. Old wet Persian rug. I'm talking of the actual rug, not the Persian rug, you know what I mean? Old wet Persian rug. Definitely that funkiness that I'm smelling comes through. I love that. I'm falling in love with anaerobic so quickly. I've got 2 more anaerobic. Oh, I think I've just done that. No, I'm not sure I have. Anyway, I've got 2 anaerobics here. An anaerobic wash and a 200-hour anaerobic that I'm going to film for you as well. But there's a definite funk Not as much in this than here. Definitely very chocolatey, like a cocoa, like a dark cocoa. Definitely a medium roast. Very mild coffee smell. The coffee. When I say coffee smell, the coffee smell, you know, like when you go to a cafe, that coffee smell. Very mild. I get the lime. I get the lime on the nose of the actual coffee. That's interesting. I get a raspberry jam. A sweetness. I get a sweetness, a raspberry jam. It says on the thing, the description is peach. I'm not getting the peach. But there's the beauty of it. It's all taste memory. It's all your palate. You know, everyone can differ. You might find common ground, but, you know, you're always going to be different. Oh, wow, it smells glorious. I'm getting that weird perfume. I'm getting a slight hint of cinnamon, nutmeg in there. I'm getting incense. I'm getting floral, slight floral. Can't put my finger on the flower, but just like a floral bouquet. Like when you walk into a florist, but there's not that much flowers there. It's the end of the day. Just a little bit left, and you've got that floral, the residue. Raspberry jam. Cereal notes. I'm getting some cereal notes, like a toasted white bread. You know, when you put the bread in the toaster and then just like the corners just maybe folds a little bit and the corner just slightly gets near the fire, the element. Oh, I'm getting some of that. That is fucking glorious. Oh, and either that or I'm just a coffee junkie and I'm tweaking. Probably that as well. I'm just jonesing. But there is an undefinable perfume. There is a funk. There is a dank, there is some dirt, but some floral, some fruit, extremely complex, I was going to say whiskey then, extremely complex coffee. Fantastic. Let's sip in. Definitely medium, light to medium even. On the light side, definitely light to medium. Back palate, there's a slight bitterness. Man, that funk translates. That is so weird. Like that, it's like wet cardboard, wet carpet, like a flooded house, like a flooded basement. This is not, I'm going to say it right now, I don't think this kind of coffee is for the average coffee drinker. Like, I would liken this to some challenging whiskeys because it is not your quintessential coffee, especially in the AeroPress form. So I'm going to do AeroPress from now on. I'm not going to bother with pour over unless there's an interest factor for it, just for sake of simplicity and consistency, okay? I'm going to do, and maybe some of them I will do side by side, pour over and AeroPress, but let me get in the rhythm of things and then we'll decide then. I can only have one coffee a day. Oh no, each time. 2 coffees a day. Yes, I've escalated. Yeah, definitely there's a dank. This is not for the faint-hearted because it is strange, it is weird, but it is fruity on the palate. It is fresh raspberries in the palate, not jam. Like fresh raspberries when you get in the shop, it is quite tart. It's not really sweet, it's quite tart. It's got a little bit of that. Leathery. Woody, cereal notes, definitely cacao. I think that I'm not getting the lime that they described because I am tasting that unripe or sour raspberry, okay? Sour raspberry. So I'm not getting the lime. It's earthy. Definitely that toasted bread is in there, the taste. Like, I can taste it, but more smell it. But not too heavy. Just a strange palate, but not a heavy palate. Doesn't taste oily. Doesn't taste like the finish is long, but it's not heavy. I can't describe it. Fantastic. Look, the perfume is there. The floral nature is there. I don't know how to describe that except for it's slightly floral and it's got a perfume like incense in the distance. And that's it, like an oil, like those, you know those little vases with the oils and the little thing sticks out and then it transmits the oil over time, like something like that. It's something undefinable, maybe even sandalwood, I can't define it. But anyway, extremely complex coffee. I love it, EF2, I'm going to keep hunting down that shit because that is fantastic. Vanguard coffee, well done. And so far, I have not had a bad roastery yet. I've had a one that's relatively generic, but I don't have that to sample. But so far, I have not had one that's really bad. And I don't know what I don't know yet anyway. And, you know, they all are good in their own right. So far that I've had. So, but anyway, this is my second filming. So, you know, yeah, doesn't really matter. Let's see how it goes, and let's maybe I'll stumble into a shit one. You know what I mean? But anyway, until next time, make sure you eat, smoke, drink, caffeinate the shit out of yourself because you know coffee is the drug of the gods. And until next time, cheers.